when you talk about eligibility, it's only one sentence talking about eligibility or ineligibility. These guidelines should have enumerated
what she means by ineligible player. What will happen to a team that fronts players who are not eligible? They've just talked about 2 years ban.
But for what? There should have been a clear, because a guideline gives details in precise. There should have been a clear explanation as to how we will authenticate an eligible player and what will be done to that team that brings forth ineligible teams. And one thing that I would have wished was what will be done to coaches who bring in ineligible players. Because what I realized was that over the years, it is coaches who bring Mamlukis. We had a case in the last Super Cup whereby in the finals, volleyball, my team lost to a team from Kilome, which had not a single player from Kilome. 2 of the players had played for Kusa. The other best player was from Bitini. Avi migrated from Mavindini due to Thwake. And the others were collected from the streets. And afterwards, when we raised issues, and the players were banned because they could not play at the national because of the issues that we raised, they went ahead to force to insist that the coach should lead the Makueni team. And then we asked, this is a coach who first did a mistake deliberately, and all his players are nowhere in the list. You give him the team, whereby not a single player is from his team. How is that? This coach should have been banned in the first place before we banned the teams. So I have an issue with eligibility. Number 2, there is only one mention. There's only one mention of the word jury in the entire document. I would have expected the guidelines to enumerate clearly what will happen when a team is dissatisfied and who will comprise the jury and the verdict of a jury. We have one perennial petitioner in these games, my neighbor here from Bitini. There is not a single day we had games and he didn't petition. So I would have wished to see an explanation as to what
is out of order, member from Bitini.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker is the member in order to mislead this house that have ever petitions for those games. Can he provide evidence if I've ever petitions? And also, Mr. Speaker, to inform the member that what
Member, you are on a point of order. You have executed your point of order.
Thank you. I can see the member is so thirsty to inform me, but I'm fairly diligent to be informed on matters sports, even though he's a more sportsman than me. Now, Honorable Speaker, it is clear that for the last 3 years we've played these games, there is not a single year Bitini team accepted defeat. Every year, we force the defeat down their throat.
So, member from Mavindini, it is the Bitini team, not the member from Bitini. Is that your situation, or you still stand that it is the member from Bitini who petitions?
There is no Bitini and there is no Honorable Ben. He's the one who writes the DD, and he's always with me. The last time he was writing from Katumu.
So, member from Mavindini, order member from Mavindini. In this case, I will request that you produce evidence that is a perennial petitioner on these games. If you do not have any evidence, I will request you to withdraw and apologize.
Speaker, even if you put the question here, everybody knows that he always petitions every single game. I may not have the evidence in a situation like this, but even you know I'm always with you. He's always petitioning.
Honorable member from Mbitini, from Mavindini, I want you to, with evidence, I will support you and I will give you protection. If you do not have evidence, just withdraw your statement and apologize.
Honorable Madam Speaker, I'll withdraw, but in the coming games, I'll prove you right.
Honorable member for Mavindini, order. Honorable member for Mavindini, wait for your next Super Cup to prove otherwise, but for now you have to withdraw and apologize.
The best thing, the next Super Cup will be in Mavindini, so if he brings those issues there, we'll deal with him. Nevertheless, I withdraw. Allow it that I proceed.
Can you apologize, member from Mbitini, for Mavindini?
Yes, to the House or to him?
Directed that you withdraw your sentiments and apologize.
To him or to the House?
No condition.
Honorable member for Mavindini, I have said you withdraw your statements and apologize.
Withdraw my statement and apologize to him. Allow that I proceed. I was talking about the jury.
Point of order.
Honorable Speaker, allow that.
What is out of order, honorable member for Mutituande?
Madam Speaker, it has to go to the record that Honorable Kimongo had promised to deal with Honorable Benativ when the sport will be in Mavindini. And that cannot go unnoticed in this assembly. And we know how Honorable Bernard loves sports. We have been together all through since we came to this assembly, supporting our teams. And now it's getting threatened. You mean now he'll support his team once more? So, Honorable Kimongo, from where I sit, he shouldn't subject that matter or withdraw completely, because the life of Honorable Benu might be threatened in the next sport, and which we know he loves the game. Please, don't watch the game.
So, member for...
Honorable Speaker, I am... In the last election, the margin was so small that someone could petition. But the margin that I will beat between the team will be so huge that it will be shameless, it will be shameful to petition. Because if you are beaten 10 goals by 0, who petition? So that's the dealing I'm talking about. You know, my mind is not so much on physical and all those. I'm a Christian brother. My father is a pastor, so I can't fight him. He's my friend, but I will beat his, but I will beat his team thoroughly, that he will not even think of writing anything like a petition like he has always been doing. Allow that I proceed. Honorable Speaker, I have also an issue to do with the finances. These guidelines did not say anything, or they've said very little to do with finances.
Point of information.
Oh, I was informed.
Member for Mavindini, you want to be informed by the chair?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So that we save the assembly time. The member feels that what I have read is scanty. I want to inform him that I was not reading. There are attachments for every report that I was reading, and I was just reading like something like a summary. The attachments have the details that he's looking for. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is the guideline. There's an attachment for the guidelines and structure. There's an attachment, the policy itself, and there's an attachment, the regulations, which have the details. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Mavindini, is the information useful to you?
That's my very able member in another committee. I always trust her, so she will take me through. Allow that I conclude, Honorable Speaker, and I will conclude on an issue that was raised about the selection of teams to the next level after the Super Cup. During the last concluded edition of the National Sporting Extravaganza, we had a real issue with selection of teams. This Nini has only mentioned 4 for the winning team. They've not mentioned for number 2, number 3. The only thing that they've said is 1 for each. So this will mean if a team is number 2, and number 2, it can be number 2 when the team is almost as equal as number 1. In a game of volleyball, it could be that they went up with the 50th set. The number 2 team lost 14-15 on the 50th set. So it would mean that the number 2 team has equally good players. But the guidelines have talked about 4 for the winning team and not for the number 2, number 3. They've only talked about 1. We have cases whereby the selection would favor other teams that even never went anywhere. So I am of the view that we prolate the final results. If a team is going to comprise of 12 players in an example of volleyball, we say the winning team should produce like 4, the runners-up should produce like 3, the other one should produce like 2, those who are in number 3, and the others, I mean, I'm even not in support of every team getting 1. In the other edition, we had teams that could not produce 1 good player. 1 good player, they could not produce. We had members of the volleyball team who went to Homa Bay, but they could not serve the ball to the other side of the net. And they are in the team because of the 1 from every team article. I would suggest that we delete this. Let us select teams as it concerns performance, not this thing of regional balance that every team must produce someone. We will not get the best.
the football.
It is not even a must for the whole team to go, but the scouts, given a chance, they will scout the 7 best from the winning team and look for other players in all other teams. But the clause says that you beef up with the remaining slots shall be open to the rest of the talented members in all teams. So we are not saying we are picking from all teams. We are looking at the talented players only. And if only we could allow the scouts, because they are external scouts who have no interest. It is the interest of the members of the assembly, the officers of the department and coaches. It is their interest which interfere with the scouts. And we end up giving our own names for people that we have interest in. If we would let the scouts the external scouts do the scouting without interference and the political interest. We would pick the best and the most if the scouts can follow what these guidelines say, would have the best of the best from Makueni. I want to thank the members for supporting. I don't know if I have addressed all the concerns, but we
Madam Speaker, I beg to move the following motion. That the Assembly adopts the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for the period July to December 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 10th March 2025. Madam Speaker, the Select Committee on Delegated County Legislation is established pursuant to. Sorry, Madam Speaker, I wish to go straight away to executive summary. Madam Speaker, The half-yearly progress report for the period in July and December 2024 was prepared as per the provisions of the Standing Order 203 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders. The report covers the business undertaken by the committee, achievements, challenges faced, and the recommendation. Madam Speaker, it is based on this provision that the committee submits its progress report for the period in July to December 2024. During the period under review, the committee held a total of 23 meetings and deliberated on the following agenda as shall be seen in the report, including number 1, consideration of the half-yearly progress report of the committee as from January to June 2024, consideration of the public finance management, Makueni County Empowerment Fund Regulation 2024, consideration of the public finance committee, Makueni County Assembly of Makueni, Catering and the Other Services Scheme Fund Regulations 2024. Number 4, the consideration of the report of the Joint Committee of Delegated County Legislation and the Devolution in Public Participation, County Administration, and the Special Programs on the annual report of the Office of the County Attorney for the financial year 2023-2024. Observations. Madam Speaker, the committee made the following observations: that at the end of the reporting period, the committee had considered all the matters where it was considered to do so. Achievements. Madam Speaker, during the period under review, the committee achieved the following. Number 1, considered and tabled its half-yearly progress report for the period in January to June 2024. Number 2, Madam Speaker, the committee considered the Public Finance Committee, Makueni County Empowerment Fund Regulations 2024. Number 3, considered and tabled a report on the Public Finance Management, County Assembly of Makueni, Catering and the Other Services Scheme Fund Regulations 2024. Number 5, considered the annual report of the Office of the County Attorney for the financial year 2023-2024. Madam Speaker, the committee anticipates to consider the following business from January to June 2025. Number 1, to consider all legislations referred to it by the Assembly, regulations bills. Number 2, visit the county courts to familiarize and identify the cases mostly filed. Number 3, committee benchmarking to Senate, National Assembly and the Judiciary to learn on best practices. Number 4, all other activities referred to the committee from time to time. And lastly, host stakeholders, counterparts, committees, and the government agencies. Challenges. Madam Speaker, the committee faced the following challenges during this period. And that number 1, inefficient budgetary allocation for the committee for effective facilitation in carry out its mandated roles. Recommendations. Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that number 1, the Assembly to consider and increase the committee budget in the subsequent financial year budgets for effective facilitation in carry out their mandated roles. Number 2, the Assembly to consider and increase the allocation for the Office of the County Attorney in the subsequent budgets, as this will enable the office implement the resolutions of the Assembly. Number 3, this Assembly adopts this report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for the period in July to December 2024. Acknowledgement. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank all the members of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for their input and invaluable contributions during the period under review. The committee also takes this opportunity to thank officers of the Speaker and the clerk of the County Assembly for technical support accorded to it. Order to it. Madam Speaker, it is my place and duty on behalf of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation to present to this Assembly the Committee's progress report for the period in July to December 2024 for adoption. And thank you, Madam Speaker. And at this juncture, I call upon Sebastian Moli, Honorable Sebastian Moli, to second the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I propose the question that this Assembly adopts the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for the period July to December 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 10th March 2025. The floor is open for debate. Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I take this opportunity to thank members for supporting the motion. what is necessary and what is supposed of them. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I put the question that
25. Madam Speaker, I request to go straight away to the executive summary. Madam Speaker, the Count Assembly Standing Order 203 states that unless a more regulated voice prescribed under any written law or these standing orders, each select committee shall submit yearly progress reports to the County Assembly within 2 months after the end of the 6 months period. Madam Speaker, the Powers and Privileges Committee held a total of 16 sittings between July and December 2024. Committee business. The committee was cohesive and matters were handled in harmony and in good faith for the prosperity of the county. During the period under review, the committee deliberated on the following agenda. Number 1, the committee considered and adopted the yearly progress report for the period January-June 2024 during its 21st sitting on the 23rd July 2024, and the committee was and the report was approved by the Assembly on the 24th September 2024. Number 2, during the period under review, the committee received new members as a result of the constitution of committees in the County Assembly. The new members were acquainted with the roles of the Committee on the Powers and Privileges in accordance with the standing orders 215, Madam Speaker, 3, 4, and 5 of the County Assembly standing orders and the Section 16 of the County Assembly Powers and Privileges Act 2017. Number 3, parliamentary privileges is a legal immunity enjoyed by the members of the certain legislatures in which legislators are granted protection against civil or criminal liability for actions done or statements made in the course of their legislative duties. The role of the committee is to ensure that members do not take the privileges granted, and it was a primary requirement for the committee to acquaint themselves on the limits in which they should exercise their mandate. Challenges. The committee didn't receive any training or benchmarking opportunity during the period under review. There is a need to undertake the training and the benchmarking so that they may acquaint the members more on executing their mandate. Observations. Madam Speaker, the committee made the following observations. Number 1, the committee members' commitment towards the execution of the committee's business was impressive. Number 2, there was no case of a breach of privilege by members of the County Assembly. Additionally, there was no matter regarding failure or refusal of a member to obey any rule, order, or resolution of a County Assembly. Number 3, there was no contravention of any provision of the Speaker's orders issued under Section 40 of the Powers and Privileges Act 2017. Number 4, there was no manner or conduct of any member that intended or was likely to reflect adversely on dignity or integrity of a County Assembly or of the members, or to the contrary to the best interests of the County Assembly or its members. Recommendations. Madam Speaker, the committee recommends the following. Number 1, members should continue embracing discipline, good morals, ethics while executing their mandate, so as to avoid any conduct that is contrary to the provisions of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders and the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. Number 2, the enjoyment of privileges by the members should not prejudice the privileges of the other members in the other committees. based on the fact that the Powers and Privilege Committee's majority resolves on matters pertaining conduct of members. Acknowledgement. Madam Speaker, the committee thanks the officers of the Speaker and the clerks of the County Assembly for the technical and logistical support accorded to it in executing its mandate. I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their cooperation, contribution, and efforts they have put in the committee sittings. Madam Speaker, this is therefore my place and duty and privileges on behalf of the members of the Powers and Privileges Committee to present this report for consideration and adoption by the Assembly. And I call upon Honorable Mwaniki to second the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.